Mark Ferree in for Jason Parkin, Molly Nelson in for Jackie, and Mike Jankins in for Mike Jankins this morning from the Jankins Law Firm, a law firm that specializes in bankruptcy. But Mike, today we are talking about how you protect your clients' assets, correct?
That's right. When people come to me, they want to lose their debts, but they don't want to lose their assets. So we try to accomplish that so that they can emerge from bankruptcy.
So do you cover their assets or just help them not lose them?
Well, we try to protect them so they can emerge from bankruptcy and have everything that they came into bankruptcy with. That's not true for everybody, but if you plan correctly, then most people, at least my clients, will be able to have the same assets that they had when before they came to my office.
Which it has to be comforting.
Well, at least you'd think so. Yeah, I get to keep everything. But yeah, it's a big deal for some people because everything in bankruptcy is not protected. And we've covered that in previous shows. The laws allow you to keep certain things, but then other things they don't. Boats, extra vehicles, because each person can only protect one. Investment accounts can't be protected, but retirement accounts can.
So that's one of the things that we're talking about this morning.
That's right. Life insurance policies can be protected, the cash value in them, but there's stipulations. And so if you meet the stipulations, you get to protect them. If you don't meet the stipulations, the bankruptcy trustee seizes them and gives out the money to the people you owe the money to. So we try to prevent that. When people come to see us, they sometimes become irritated, might be a good term, when we're asking them to, or insisting actually, that they provide us all these documents. We have a worksheet that everybody has to fill out, or I should say worksheets because it's a rather thick packet, but we also require documentation of all of their assets amongst other things. And it's not because we're trying to be difficult or make life hard for my client in preparing the case. It's so we can prepare the stuff or protect the stuff they got, because people think they have certain ownership rights in something, but it's not quite what they always think. They assume. And this is generally with married couples. They think because they're married, they both own the car, so they'll report to us, yeah, the car's owned jointly. So if we just took their word for it, and they've got 2 or 3 cars, and we just put down they're all owned joint, we would tell them, well, yeah, you can protect 1 car each, and the 3rd car, we may have to do some negotiations with the trustee, pay a little bit of money to keep that, or we'll do some kind of bankruptcy planning where we can, in effect, create a loan against that car if somebody lends them some money, a relative, and we put a lien on it, and then they can use that money and put it into something that is protected. But when we actually make them get the car titles, or if there is a loan on the car, we want to document the lien too, so we make them go down to their county treasurer and get what's called a snapshot of the title. It's basically a computer-generated sheet that has all the title information, owner of it, the kind of vehicle, the VIN number, and the bank or credit union that's holding a loan against the vehicle. Well, a lot of times it just shows up, oh, they're all in the husband's name, or they're all just in the wife's name. Well, unlike divorce law, where marriage means you all own assets equal 50-50, it's not like that in bankruptcy. With cars, we've got title laws, and the ownership is evidenced by the title, so whoever's name is on it is the one that owns it, and that's strictly enforced in the bankruptcy.
So if there's a married couple and one person's name is on every title, they're only allowed 1 vehicle.
Exactly. In that case, because the other spouse who wasn't on owned none.
So it's only on the title.
That's right.
Wow.
So
Didn't know that.
we see time and time again where the clients are incorrect about how they own the titles. And so when we have that situation, if it's a valuable vehicle, some of these vehicles just aren't worth a whole lot. And so the bankruptcy court trustee, in determining where we want to make a big deal and take that away and try to liquidate it, they don't want to mess around with something that's 15 years old and has 200,000 miles on it. But sometimes the second vehicle is a pretty nice vehicle and it might be paid off. So then we have to start doing some thinking, and we do other bankruptcy planning to try to protect that, which is a whole nother topic. That
now, if you had multiple vehicles, are you able to determine which one you get to hang on to?
Yes.
Okay.
You can claim the vehicle that you want to protect.
Got it.
And if you've got, in Iowa, you can protect $7,000 of value or equity in a vehicle, and for a husband and wife, if both names are on it, you can combine it onto one vehicle if you have a real nice one and it's paid for, and get the whole $14,000 on one vehicle. Now, the other reason it's important to get documentation, again with the topic of vehicles, is we want to make sure there's a proper lien on the title. So if you've got a loan on the vehicle, the lien is the rights of the credit union or bank to repossess your vehicle if you don't pay it like you're supposed to. And they're supposed to, they being the bank, have a notation put on the title. If you ever look at your car title, you'll see security interest on it, and that's the place where the bank goes. And that shows to the world, if they look into it, that that bank has a loan on the vehicle, so nobody else can touch it if the bank wants to repossess it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes banks, credit unions make mistakes. Sometimes people don't do their job the way they should. They intend to send it into the treasurer after all the loan papers are done, but they don't. And every few years we'll find a title that didn't have a lien put on it, and in many of those cases our client ends up getting that vehicle and not having to pay for it because there wasn't a lien put on as they're required to put it on. So a lot of times an attorney will just assume, well, yeah, we see a loan paper with Ford Motor Credit or Wells Fargo, they must have a lien. Well, you'd think they would, but big organizations sometimes make mistakes with paperwork. Mm-hmm. Again, so that's why we check those, because sometimes we find...
Be to your benefit, yeah.
It's sometimes our clients mm-hmm. kind of get a windfall. Mm-hmm. And so cars, it's a big deal. Another one that's a really big deal is retirement accounts. We'll have people come to us and say, yeah, that's my retirement, and the way they speak in terms of retirement isn't the same that the law and I speak in terms of retirement. It's got to be originally an employer-sponsored retirement account, like a 401k or a regular pension through a job, or an IRA account set up how IRAs are supposed to, that the law recognizes, and those are protected in bankruptcy. But sometimes people will get money from grandma and it'll just be invested somewhere for retirement, meaning, yeah, when I retire, I'll have some money. Well, that's not the same thing.
That's just an account. That's
just an account. Mm-hmm. That's an investment. Mm-hmm. It's not protected. And so we want to make sure that we get the documentation, because sometimes we've seen them and said, those aren't retirement accounts. You need to cash that out, because otherwise the bankruptcy court's going to cash it out for you and give it to your creditors. Instead, we can use that money before you file bankruptcy and put it into something of one of your assets that is protected. And so, yes, you may lose the money from it, but at least you can pay it on your house or pay down your car loan, and there's an assortment of other things that we do in bankruptcy planning where we can protect that investment rather than you just losing it.
There you go. So again, protecting your assets is very important, and Mike Jankins, he's the guy that can take care of that for you in case you are going through bankruptcy. Tell everybody where you're located. You're located fairly easy to recognize place.
Yeah, we're at 700 2nd Avenue, which is just our parking lot's on Park Street, and it's right across from Buzzard Billy's restaurant's front door. So there's a little plug for Buzzard Billy's, but it's real easy to find. We're
easy
just
to find.
close to
Gives everybody
Wells
an
Fargo.
idea of where you're located.